everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Jump Up Supercast Game Club. My name is Brandon, and I am your host. And joining me today, I have Ilse.
Wow, 99%. That's for burying poop.
And I got Noah.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Well, there was not a forest fire prevented in the game that we played, which is Firewatch.
Hey.
We played Firewatch, and that was a Patreon pick, by the way.
It was.
So, thank you to our patrons for choosing a game for us again and supporting the podcast. We very much appreciate it. This game specifically was chosen by a good friend of the podcast, supporter of us, and we appreciate him a lot. Leahy Giblets. Just want to do a quick shout out to him because, again, he supports the podcast, and he's a great dude, and highly recommend checking out his streams, twitch.tv/Leahy Giblets.
We'll fight you if you don't.
We will. We will. We'll set you on fire in the middle of a forest if you don't. But definitely check him out. He's great. His streams are fun. He plays a whole bunch of different games, and variety streamer. He also loves playing Destiny. He's just a nice guy overall. Super cool dude. So definitely check out his streams over on Twitch. And again, thank you so much for supporting the podcast. You're the man, Leahy. So this time, again, we played Firewatch, developed by Campo Santo and published by Panic. So Campo Santo also was released, by the way, in 2016 for PC and PlayStation 4, also Xbox One, and then came out in 2018 on the Nintendo Switch. Campo Santo, by the way, Firewatch is the only game they've put out so far. Just a quick mention about them. Now, they've apparently been bought or sold to Steam, so they work under Steam now, which is interesting. And the two guys who founded the company, Jake Rodkin and Sean Vanneman, they used to work they were creative leads over in Telltale Games. So they worked on the first season of The Walking Dead.
Oh.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So they decided to, from what I read about their decision, I guess they wanted to be challenged. I guess they became too comfortable working at Telltale. And they just wanted challenged, and they decided to make their own gaming studio. And this was their first game that they...
And then Telltale blew up.
They jumped ship at the right time, apparently.
They killed Telltale.
Yeah, was it their fault, or did they know the ship was sinking?
Maybe they set it on fire.
Maybe they did. Maybe Firewatch was, just a premonition of what they were gonna, do to
secretly a confession.
Yeah. But the Firewatch is an adventure game. I know how much Ilse loves adventure games. It's not a visual novel, though. Not a visual novel adventure game, also not a point-and-click adventure game. So,
yeah. Out of the adventure type games I've played, this one was one of the least painful.
Right. This is more of the walking simulator type of adventure games.
Yeah.
Where you do have, unlike a visual novel and point and clicks, you have direct control over your character. You walk around. So this is one of those. I mean, there's a lot of those now. What Remains of Edith Finch, I think, is one of those. It's become kind of a popular genre, right, in games over the last few years. Just heavy on the storytelling.
People love stories. Imagine
They do. And this is definitely one of those games. So Firewatch takes place in a first-person perspective. You walk around an actual national forest. I'm pretty sure.
In Wyoming.
Shoshone National Forest. Yeah, in Wyoming. This is a real place that actually takes place in an actual place, but it takes place in 1989. 1 year after I was born, so I was a little baby when this game was taking place. And the precursor to the game, when you do start it up, is kind of interesting because it doesn't just throw you in. It has a backstory where you make, text-based choices. So at the beginning, it almost feels like a visual novel in a way because it's just all text telling the backstory of the main character Henry and how he met his wife. And you basically you just make choices, and those choices kind of sort of change things, but not really.
It chases like dialogue,
just dialogue,
them.
really throughout the game. So yeah,
there's not any real change.
Doesn't really have any overbearing change of the story because at first you might think so, but it doesn't.
It definitely gives you the impression that this is like actual choices that will affect gameplay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I mean, I don't care if it does or doesn't. I mean, I was only going to play it one time, so.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I was going to talk about it later, but I guess we'll talk about it now. It does do that thing where it gives you the illusion of choice, which a lot of Telltale games do.
Yeah.
Earlier,
a lot of games in general do.
A lot of games in general
like
do.
Mass Effect does this too. I mean, like a lot of games. There's only so many choices you can account for, so that's why they put in, fake choices.
Exactly. It's all an illusion. It makes you think. There are a few games that do it better than others that actually have like branching paths or different endings.
Yeah.
Even though they kind of go down the same path, your ending might be different than somebody else's. I think Until Dawn's a good example of one that actually gives you choice. The later,
very important choices.
Lots of people die.
Yeah. The Walking Dead, the later seasons after one are more impactful. There's multiple endings to those as well. And even, I guess, Life is Strange, kind of, even though it just leads you down to one choice that you make at the end of the game. But still, there's multiple endings. This game, I don't think, has multiple endings. I think it's just one.
No.
So, regardless of the choices you make at the beginning, it just really changes some dialogue throughout the game. But that's how the game starts. And like I mentioned, you play as a guy named Henry. And the beginning of the game. Now, this is really obviously a very heavy story game, right? So there's going to be parts where we're talking about the story, and we will tell you when we go into spoilers later on, and we'll have to put a spoiler tag for if you want to jump ahead of the spoilers. But we will let you know before we talk about anything really spoiler heavy. But this game is obviously one that we really have to talk about because it's really heavy on the story and pretty much the whole thing. So just want to throw out, just the beginning at least, and then we'll talk about the later parts of the story later. But again, you play as Henry, and at the beginning of the game, you learn about how you met your wife and how she gets early onset dementia.
Well, you go through like a little bit of your relationship with her. You do like, we got a dog. Do we want to have kids?
Yeah.
Are you gonna work in a different state for a while and then commute back to Henry?
Yeah,
she becomes a teacher at Yale, I think it was.
Yeah,
and
a professor.
Yeah, professor at Yale, and they have to, deal with. Yeah, it does. It has a lot of setup with choices that you make, and then again, you find out she has early onset dementia, and then it kind of goes into the decisions he has to make facing that, and then really leads to him taking a job because it's hard. It's a personal thing that he's going through, obviously, and I'm sure there's many people out there that can relate to this. I'm lucky that I haven't yet, but there's a lot of people who can relate to this, and it's not, and I know it's not an easy thing to deal with, and he comes to the decision where he kind of wants to get away.
Well, it seems like he can't deal with his wife being in the state that she's in, and he can't give her the care that she needs, and she can't really remember him anyway, like most of the time. So he ultimately puts her in a nursing home type situation, and he just has to get away.
Yeah, either he puts her in her home or she lives with her parents, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in Australia. And so he gets away. He takes this job to like just get away from everything and kind of be to himself and clear his head. And try to find something of enjoyment because he's just been going through a lot. And yeah, that's where it starts. Then you end up finding you have a walkie-talkie. Now you working as a forest ranger in a fire tower. Again in these mountains, this national forest, and you have your boss communicates with you through a walkie-talkie, and that's your her name's Delilah, and that's your basically the person you're talking to for the rest of the game. Going through these communications, talking to her. She gives you stuff to do. Go check on this because she's your boss, and you have to go. You have to go around the forest and
watch for fires.
Watch for fires, really. And I think the narrative is a lot of. The big thing is the character building. I think is what they try to focus on between yourself, Henry, and your boss, Delilah. Because the game...
That's the main focus, yeah.
Yeah. Because the gameplay really narrows down to you just walking to areas, and then you can interact with things here and there, but you're really just going from area to area, from checkpoint to checkpoint in the forest. Objectives that you have to just go to, really.
Yeah, and to move the conversation along, basically, and the pace of the story.
Right. Because that's really all it is. There's not a lot of mechanics to it. You do have, again, you can pick things up and interact with things.
But it's very shallow.
Yeah,
specific things, yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, the gameplay, really, that's all it is.
Yeah. I mean, the other part of the gameplay is actually navigating. You have to use the map and, the compass, and sometimes you have that beeping thing, I forget what it's called. And you have to find certain things. So, I mean, I do like that bit of it. Like, I do like the updating map. It reminds me a lot of Silent Hill, too.
Yeah.
Because he updates it as he goes along. He actually draws on the map.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty much the main thrust of the gameplay.
Yeah. And there's while you're like traversing, you find different items, I guess, that help you do it more throughout the game, right? Because you get like an axe that can chop down like bushes. You get different things that help you, like
you get the rope. You get the anchors that you can put in the rock.
Yeah. So you get a couple things. Basically, it's just progression based, where they make you get that item, so they have those other things to lock you out of areas until you get that item where the story will allow you to go to those places. So that's really why they're there.
Pretty much.
So, yeah. But it's open. It's open ended in a way where you just have the whole forest to walk around and explore, but really there's not a lot to do.
To discover, yeah.
I mean, you can't really. There are like specific trails. You can't really move where you want to go. It's kind of linear for an open place. Kind of.
And again, they lock you off of certain areas until you get items that you need to go through. So you eventually you're gonna wind up, even if you're dumb as fuck and you can't figure out where to go. Eventually you're gonna wind up there as long as you keep walking around.
Yeah, I mean, they give you a map and a compass, which shouldn't be hard.
They're pretty good about telling you exactly where you need to go at all times. Although looking at the map, sometimes when you open the map, it doesn't just like change the screen, which is cool. Because instead of like having it just like open a map screen, your character actually pulls out a map and like holds it in front of him, and you can like zoom in on it, which is kind of neat. Although I do kind of wish you could walk and hold the map, or run, because you can walk and hold the map.
You can walk on the map.
But I wish you could run and hold the map at the same time. Which I understand why you couldn't. In real life it'd be silly, but
yeah, I mean I agree. I think there's a trade-off there where some games want to be more realistic, but that can hamper your experience a little bit. So you just kind of have to deal with it. It's not a huge problem. My problem with the map was that it didn't really like autofocus into where you were on the map. I was like, I always had to find myself sometimes, and I don't know if that's a problem on Xbox or something, but on Switch it was kind of annoying.
No, I think if you just hit the zoom in button, it kind of just zooms in on the last spot you were looking at the map instead of where you actually are, or something. So it's very easy to lose your place on the map. Yeah. Especially if you move around. Near the end of the game, because you've been in this area for long enough, you kind of know you don't even need the map as much.
Yeah, you know the trails.
Yeah. Which is nice.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it's really helpful to have the map. Graphics-wise, too, the game kind of goes for like a painting style, like cel-shaded. You know, it's not realistic looking. You know, I think I think overall, because of the art style they chose, like it looks pretty cool. I like the lighting effects that they use, how, especially because a lot of the game takes place at dusk. You know, so you have this like sunsetting kind of lighting over the forest, which is pretty cool.
It was like a day night kind of changing going on, like every so often.
Yeah. And then so there's times where, you know, there's fires and you get the whole forest is kind of like under the light of the fire too, which is kind of
or
cool.
Smoke. It's like smokier, especially near the end where the big fire is there. You just have to, you know, deal with the smoke.
Yeah. I would say overall, I did like the look of the game. I thought it looked good for what the art style was trying to get across.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I also liked the Henry's like arms and legs. That's all you can see of him, but I like the way they looked.
Yeah.
It looked a little cartoonish, but it was pretty good. And
he's really the only. No, so I guess kind of a spoiler, but he's really the only human you see. Through the game, and
sort of. I mean, you see someone else.
Yeah. Should we go into spoiler territory because we could?
Probably not.
No, yeah.
Probably not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think I actually I did read though that they didn't want to have to do. They didn't want to have to do character animations or lip syncing either.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was also a choice to make it so that that you know you didn't really see anybody. And interestingly enough, the two voice actors for Henry and Delilah, they recorded all their voice lines separately, but did like calls to each other. Like to just talk to each other to get like a chemistry, but they actually never saw each other during the entire time that the game was made, and it was on purpose because they wanted to to get that chemistry of two people who haven't seen each other.
That's interesting.
And it honestly, and this is what I guess leads into this that I always want to say, like you feel it in the game. They did an amazing job, I think, between the two of them in terms of chemistry with these two characters. I think the voice acting was, had to be on point for it to be any good. Yeah, that's basically the whole thing. But they knocked it out of the park. At least I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, their chemistry is really. I mean, you can feel it almost instantly. Like they have like an intimate rapport about them. Like, you just want to. It draws you into the narrative. It does a good job at doing that.
Yeah, and it feels very natural, you know, like an actual conversation that just two people would be having, you know. It didn't feel like they were reading off a script at all. It just felt really good, really natural is the best way that I could say it, and I really enjoyed it. And they're both funny, by the way. They're both good at making jokes. I did enjoy Delilah's like shitty dad jokes, you know. I thought that was really good. Yeah. She would always do the puns and stuff.
Yeah,
and Henry was always just like, "Oh God, kill me." And
they were excellent. I mean, I really liked them a lot. Both those characters, like, really, really well done. Rich Summer played Henry, and Cissy Jones played Delilah. Excellent work.
And Sissy Jones also worked on The Walking Dead as well. So I guess they probably already knew her before they cast her for this. But they both did an amazing job. I just wanted to say as well that you do have, while you're playing the game, just like the beginning, you do kind of have, and just kind of like The Walking Dead, you have choice to branching dialogue options that you say to Delilah when she's talking to you when you're on the walkie-talkie. So he kind of uses that same thing that The Walking Dead has. There's a little timer, you have time to reply, to make your choice. And I don't think that a lot of the dialogue has a lot of the choices have any effect. Consequences or anything changes the story. But again, you do get different
reactions or responses.
Yeah, exactly. So you can play it as you want. You can play it as you want to be a jerk or however you want. You can play the game and just kind of choose those options and get different.
Within like 3 options, though.
yeah, there's like 3 options each time, but still. I was usually pretty nice. I was never too much of a jerk. It's not like they give you like too many mean options, but some of them seem like kind of standoffish. One time I didn't decide fast enough and just kind of like got like the blank answer, Yeah. I was trying to decide, and their time limit is going down, and I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna pick?
I didn't like the control scheme of. Well, it was mostly fine, but I didn't like having to hold down the radio button. It was like, oh man, fuck this.
Yeah, you hold down the radio button, then you like use at least on Xbox, you use one trigger to hold down the radio and the other trigger to select the option and then let go of it.
Yeah.
To talk.
Yeah, it took a little bit of getting used to, because at the beginning I fucked up one of the dialogue options. I was like, oh man, this sucks.
I've noticed that as well, not only the dialogue options can change, parts of the dialogue itself, but some of the things you do also change it. Because this comes early on in the game, so I guess this isn't really too much of a spoiler, so we talk about this part. But there's some fireworks going off, and you get told to go investigate, because obviously setting off fireworks in the middle of the forest, bad idea, right? And you go to investigate it, you find 2 teenagers, and when you find them, they're swimming in the lake, and there's just this radio that's blasting fucking music, right? Some Cyndi Lauper sounding ass music, and during that whole part, I was like, man, this music's starting to get really fucking annoying. So I picked up the radio, and I was like, I wonder if just thinking to myself, I wonder if I throw this in the lake, if it'll like break the radio. It did. The radio fried. And then later on in the game, there was a dialogue option that probably wouldn't have been there if I didn't do that, where Delilah asks you like, well, did you do anything to upset the teens? And I was like, yeah, I threw their radio in the lake. And that if I didn't do that, that wouldn't have been a dialogue
option. I didn't have that
option.
option. No, because I didn't do that, so I didn't have that option.
I did do that. I did the exact same thing, and I had that option. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I just straight up told her, I was like, yeah, I threw the radio in the lake. And she was like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have done that. So I thought that was cool that, that was obviously an optional thing that you didn't have to do. But, yeah.
I do like that occasionally she'll just stop wanting to talk to you. Like, she'll get mad at you sometimes and be like, oh, we can't talk right now, sorry, go do something else.
Yeah, and a lot of attention to detail as well, not only in the talk, the conversations that they have, but to his lookout, it was just fun to look around and see like how he set it up. I don't know, it was something about that I thought was really cool and felt like there are a lot of neat items, like detailed items that even you find in like the caches that you go through in the forest. There's like different books. There's like pine cones, a fossilized horn or some shit like that.
The claws, like a dinosaur claw, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to have them to, show some detail in the world that you're building, but like they're all pretty useless. Like you couldn't do anything.
Yeah, they don't really add up to anything. They're just there, literally.
Yeah, I wish you couldn't pick them up or something. I don't know. I didn't want to pick up all this shit for no reason.
yeah, ultimately a lot of stuff in those were completely pointless. But I did like
that you could pick up the notes and then later on he'll like tape them to his wall.
Yeah, that was cool. You could like keep them. You know, you could also pick up like garbage and like hit
clean
like,
up all the beer cans and shit.
Yeah, to like throw like kind of you're throwing it away or recycling it. I don't know what you were doing, but like you pick it up. And I thought like it would have some bearing later on in the game.
Yeah,
I wasted my fucking time doing that.
Yeah,
same.
Picked up a lot of beer cans for nothing.
Yeah. It's absolutely pointless. And I thought it was going to have something to do, like, later. At least something like, oh, well, at least, you know, somebody would mention that I fucking cleaned up the goddamn forest.
Yeah.
But no. God damn it. But I like how...
a granola bar.
Yeah, eating the granola bar. I don't know what... That doesn't really have any effects either, but... I do like, though, just the little details in the fire tower that, you know, it's like he really, you know, he lived there. It'd be like one morning where like his clothes are hanging up on like a dry, you know, he's like drying out his clothes or something. It kind of changes. I just thought it was kind of cool how it, you know, it definitely looked like they put a lot of attention to make it look like somebody was actually living up there.
Yeah.
And I liked also like the different. There's a lot of fake brand name stuff that looked exactly like the thing, like fake Clorox and fake coffee. I just got lost in like just looking at the shit up there for no reason. There's a picture of him and his wife, but I think his wife's face was like covered up or something. What the hell was his wife's name, by the way? I can't remember. Julia, okay. I don't know why I couldn't remember it. I just couldn't.
Wow, already forgetting her.
Yeah, well, she forgot me, so...
There must have been like some sort of like achievement or something for collecting little books, because I kept finding books.
There was not
randomly.
There wasn't. No, I got all the achievements in this game. There's no.
They were in the most random fucking spots.
No, there's some random achievements here and there. There's one where you have to find like mixtape was left there by somebody. There's one where you have to. There's one where I don't know if you like investigated this like abandoned house and like a raccoon jumps out at you. There's an achievement for that. There's an achievement for getting stung by the bees.
Yeah, I got stung by the bee.
Yeah. There's an achievement for taking all the pictures in the disposable camera, which this isn't really a spoiler, I guess. And this is actually, I want to mention, this is a good piece of trivia that I found out about this game before we started. So you find that disposable camera, right? And you can walk around and take pictures. And you have like, you know, like 26 pictures or something like that in the roll. And there was an achievement for using all the pictures. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I found that disposable camera, I just took fucking all the pictures. Mm-hmm. I literally just looked at the sun and took 26 pictures, right? And then later on in the game, she's like, "Oh, you should probably take a picture of this. This might be important." And I'm like, yeah, I used them all."
No.
And then during the credits,
you get to see them.
You get to see all the pictures you took, and literally all mine are just pictures of the sun. But the cool thing is apparently that after you do that, in the pictures that are shown in the credits, the game also generates a link that uploads the pictures to their website, firewatch.camera. And you can go to that website using the link from your game, and you can have those pictures developed as 4x6 glossy prints.
Oh boy!
For like $15 if you want.
Did anyone use this?
I don't know. It's a thing though. I don't know if it's still up, but at one point it was a thing. I didn't look into it to see if it was
for
still
$15.
up.
That's the fucking price of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you really, really like this game, I guess. But I just thought it was really interesting and also funny because I just took all of the pictures the same.
You should get them developed. You just have 26 pictures of the sun in your room.
You're a waste of $15.
It'd be like $200.
Well, I assume $15 for your whole camera roll.
Oh, no. I hope so.
Not just one picture.
I hope so.
But, yeah, kind of cool. I didn't know that was a thing until earlier today when I was looking up some information. So, if you like Firewatch and you want to... don't do what I did. You actually take cool pictures because
I took pictures because there's certain events in the story that are like kind of like mysterious and like you think that you might need like the pictures to like as evidence or something. So I was taking pictures of things like that.
Yeah, I mean, even Delilah tells you like when you come across like later on like different things, she'll be like, oh, we should like document this. You should take some pictures, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know if you guys did, but I couldn't.
I did a few, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a few when I got to a certain hideout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I took a bunch for that one.
But ultimately,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Doesn't even mention it again. Yeah. No.
Oh well.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about this later on with the ending and stuff like that. But there's some missed opportunities there.
Yeah, again, it's definitely also an illusion where it makes you think that it's important, but ultimately it's not. Sorry if that's a spoiler for you.
You ruined the game.
Yeah.
Take the pictures for fun with the idea that you can get them printed at firewatch.camera. Okay?
Can you see like the pictures that other people took or just ones you took?
I have no idea. I didn't even see the link after I beat the game, so I don't really know if that's even still a thing.
Did the Xbox version have any slowdown issues?
No. I mean, I was
played
playing
on Steam.
Oh, okay. I played on Switch, and like when I was running for, if I just kept running for a while, there would be some loading issues. Like, yeah, it would just slow down for a while. So I was like, oh man, this sucks.
Maybe it's just the game loading. Yeah, it might be just a Switch thing. Because it may be on the base Xbox One, but I played it on Xbox Series X, so it probably had easier time loading the game. So I didn't experience any issues. You said you didn't either on Steam, right, Noah?
Nope, no issues. Performance-wise, at least.
Sucks that the game is $5 on Steam now.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago it was full price. That sucks. That sucks a lot. But
refund your game, Noah.
Good deal. There you go. You already played it for over 2 hours. Because it's like a 4-hour game. Which I guess that could for some people, right, be a point of contention, right? Because it's not a long game. The Firewatch not a long game, about 4 hours, like I said, and it's $20. So that's up to you to decide if that is worth your money,
I think it was worth it for me. I mean, I paid full price for it. I genuinely like this game a good amount, and I had a lot of I still have a lot of thoughts about it. So which we'll get to.
I don't have any regrets for purchasing it for full price, really. So it's fine. Also,
I think the game
developers.
The game does a great job. Like, we didn't talk about the sound design and the music, but those are two of the strongest points of this game.
Yeah.
Man, the music, fucking good. Like, it pops up out of nowhere sometimes when you're just exploring, and it sounds real good.
Yeah, it is really good, actually. It's very atmospheric. It puts you in the mood to just be exploring and walking around. Yeah.
And with the sound design, you hear, like, all your footsteps. You hear, like, the gravel, the feet of your footfalls. And just constantly being aware of your surroundings. It gets more and more... it sets the mood more and more as the mystery of the game continues to, ramp up. Because at a certain point, like, you get, mysteriously attacked by someone and you don't see them and you get knocked down, and this is not a game where you would expect that to happen, and it just happens out of nowhere. And after that point, I was just like constantly like searching around my surroundings, like especially when I found the tent inside the fence area. I was just like constantly searching around, making sure, I know now that there's no fail state in this game, but for the game to be able to convince me that there was one, or perhaps there might be one, is really good. And without even having any character models. So, I mean, there are no other characters that you meet in this game, but the game does such a great job of upping the tension that you don't even need them.
Yeah, because at that time you don't know that for sure either.
Exactly.
So you're thinking, am I gonna get the shit scared out of me? Like, because I'm doing something. I'm somewhere I'm not supposed to be, and I know somebody, might be around. Like, it does do that to you, where you're like, yeah, I might come across somebody. I don't know when or how, but I might, and I guess that is a good thing. But if you're playing this game, if you're listening to this podcast where you played the game, you might be now but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll still feel it, even though you know that nothing. You're never gonna meet anybody. You're still gonna feel like the tension of the game.
Yeah, they did a really good job on like building up that tension out of nowhere.
Yeah,
for sure.
They did a good job of just building up the mystery, because you become like, just like your character, you become like enveloped in it, and you want to know what the hell is going on.
Yeah,
and we'll get into it. Are you guys ready? Do you want to talk about it now? Because we could just go into spoilers.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. So we'll put again. If you haven't played this game, please do not listen to this part. I suggest you don't, or at least if you have any interest playing this game. So in the description below, I'll put the timestamp or where you want to skip to in the podcast, so you don't have to listen to us talk about any spoilers. The game again does a really good job of building up mystery, but then ultimately, for me, lets you down on that mystery.
It let me down very, very much. I was very disappointed with the ending in all aspects, with the mystery, with Delilah, with everything.
I am disappointed by the mystery. I'm not disappointed by Delilah. That's my take, and I'm gonna get into that when we get to it. But
I could see both of that, but I definitely was disappointed by the mystery. All parts of the mystery would disappointed me, because you had the mystery of the teenagers, right, after they went missing, and it was, okay, what happened to them? Did they get killed? Are they really missing? Am I gonna find them somewhere? That ultimately was a huge fucking letdown. That was like that was just a slap in the face to me. I was like, what the fuck? Really? Like, oh no, they were found. It's good. It's cool. It's what the fuck, man. Like, I just thought it was
sound like
some...
they were gonna blame you for something, like for something happening to them, and then you would be in trouble, and then that would cause like all sorts of like another series of events.
At least that. They get found, but then they say, oh, this crazy guy's there, get him fired. No, nothing. There's no actual like consequences of that.
Yeah, I mean,
some things. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I did really like the idea of having, the girls being missing being the main track of the mystery of the game. Yeah. Like, I wanted that to be the main track, because I feel like if they had gone down that route, and even they didn't even have to kill the girls, necessarily. They could have just made them show up later on. Having like the police maybe, hounding you or something like that. Just something to amp up the tension in a real way, to make you feel like you're actually going to get some kind of payoff there.
Yeah, but they could have made it so like they would like searching for you in the forest, and they had like dogs barking or something, or you'd see lights flashing. They didn't even have. They could have gone with the route what they've been doing this whole time, not using actual characters models or anything. Just scare you, that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah,
or even just having like Delilah start freaking out because the police are like asking her questions, or something like that.
Yeah,
but she accidentally made it sound like you're very suspicious, or that you're at fault or something by accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were already worried about that, right? Because
they were, but for no real reason.
Yeah.
Like, what the actual mystery was something completely disconnected from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it becomes like this thing is just hanging off on its own. It's not part of what's actually going on.
Yeah. I mean, and even the outside of the two teenage girls, being missing, the other mystery there, right? At first, I thought it was, really cool, and I thought there was going to be some sort of really cool payoff to it, too, which ultimately left me to being let down. Because you find out, and I thought this was really cool, you find out that you and Delilah are being listened to by somebody, right? You don't know who. You do see a shadowy figure earlier on in the game, right? You see a shadowy figure, you get knocked out. And then you find a clipboard of like your exact conversation that you had with Delilah. And you're like, fuck, somebody has our lines, somebody's listening to us. And like, that's just creepy. You want to figure out what's going on. That's really weird, really, especially since, just why, and, it's just creepy and weird. So you want to figure out what the hell's going on. Why is somebody listening to your conversations and writing them down even and keeping a record of them? And then you find a backpack of a little boy named Brian Goodwin, right? And Delilah tells you that there used to be a guy named Ned Goodman. He used to be the former lookout before you. And
in Two Forks, which is where you're stationed at. Yeah.
And you find out, I guess Brian wasn't supposed to be there, and Delilah lied to them because she was like, yeah, I'll let him, be there. He's a cool kid, you can bring him there with you, that's fine. But then he went missing. And then they both went missing, so both of them went missing and never showed back up. You find his backpack. That's where you get the disposable camera.
And the rope.
And the rope. So there's that mystery, right? Of like, what happened to Brian? What happened to Ned? What happened to the teens? And then also somebody's listening to you.
Mm-hmm. And somebody attacked you eventually.
Somebody attacks you. You end up finding like an entire fenced-off area that once you break in there, you find that somebody has all this equipment set up that they've been listening to you and transcripts of your conversations and all of this. And that part, when you first break into there, that's the part I think you were kind of alluding to, Ills, where you're like, the tension is really high. You're like, at any moment, is somebody going to like find me here? I'm not supposed to be here. So that's that. I felt the same way when I was in that part. Same. But ultimately, nothing. You could spend hours in there if you wanted to. Nothing's going to happen to you.
I never really understood how that person had all this equipment and set up a whole fence in a perimeter. And
it was already there. Like, that stuff was there from the Wapiti station. There's like a research team that's supposed to be there, and he went in there when they weren't there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was using their equipment.
Yeah.
And he has... I think you find that through, like, notes and stuff that you read.
Mm-hmm.
And... yeah, I mean, you ultimately find like the tracker there, right? Where you get to, you also switch walkie-talkies so that person can't listen to you anymore. And you find like a tracker, like a beeper thing. You follow that later on. You find a tape from him, right? As you're preparing to leave. Because I guess, he hears a conversation of you and Delilah saying you should burn this place down. Because somebody's listening to you, and you like kind of just say, maybe we should burn this place. Maybe we should just burn it all down. But he uses that and blackmails you. Like, I'm going to send this in. And he starts a fire. And then it's like, he's going to use that tape of you guys saying you're going to burn it down to blackmail you guys.
That's what you think is going to happen.
At least
that's what he implies, basically.
Yeah, that's what he implies. And then you use the tracker starts going off. So you find the tape from Ned. Actually, before that, even, right? You find a key. And you use that key to get into the entrance of a cave. That's and you go in the cave. All of a sudden, the door locks behind you, and you find Brian's dead body in the cave, right? Like decomposed.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. As you're exploring the cave, you find Brian's dead body in there, and then you kind of look, and there's like a rope, and it's like. It's like, okay, well, this was a hiking accident, or was it made to look like a hiking accident? Is this, you don't know for sure, but it was a hiking accident, which to me ultimately was like, it wasn't like shocking to me at that point. It was just, okay, it was a hiking accident. It wasn't, nobody got murdered, nobody got kidnapped, he fell. And he was in that cave. But you find the tape from Ned. And Ned claims that Brian's death was an accident. He kind of blames it on him, being inexperienced in hiking. Because I guess he was trying to get Brian to be more outdoorsy because Brian was kind of a nerd and he liked RPGs and D&D and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he was kind of that dad that was like, oh, you should be.
Yeah, he's like an army vet. He has PTSD. He's like, he's like a hard guy.
Yeah, he was in Vietnam. You find out, and so he was really just trying to get his kid to
toughen up, kid.
Be more tough, and be in nature and all that, and him kind of forcing him to do that, and then he died in a climbing accident. And then Ned just secretly he went off the grid and just lived in the area. Still, he has a little kind of like camp that he set up.
Yeah, like an underground cave.
Yeah,
base bunker thing.
Which. And then he's just, I guess he just kind of
lived there and he decided that he wanted to fuck with you.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, why?
This is the big problem I have with this game. Is like, Ned has all the answers already. Like, he can hear everything that you're doing. Why is he trying to frighten you? Nobody's looking for him. Nobody is looking for him.
Nobody was looking for him until you found the transcripts.
Yeah, and he made the transcripts.
Yeah.
And he did all the shit with the fence. I mean, he put the stuff in the tent there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why?
Makes no sense.
I don't know. I really don't.
Why are you trying to bring attention to yourself when nobody even knows you're there? And when you even see him the first time, that first day, you see some guy.
Shadow.
Delilah's like, oh, people just walk around. You already have a fucking alibi. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, and he heard that conversation.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand the thrust of this guy's motivation. Yeah. What the fuck?
Like, did he? I get the. I understand, right, that his son died, right? And like that was a complete accident. But it was an accident, right?
And I even get why he would try to hide it at some point.
He would clearly try to hide it. He had it locked up.
Yeah.
Well, I have a theory about why he would try to hide it. But before I get to that, I don't nobody was even searching for the kid. There was no police presence. Nobody was searching for him. Like, had they built up the idea of police looking around, then I can understand him getting nervous and maybe doing something like this. Mm-hmm. But that was not built up, and that's another way where they could have incorporated the girls being into the mystery, but they didn't do it.
Right, if the girls had gone lost. Right, if the girls being lost had brought the police in, and then he was like, well, damn, if the police are here looking around, they might find not only his dead body, but also me, and also me being weird in a fucking little bunker that I set up.
Yeah.
I could see why he'd be nervous.
Yes, that would have been perfect excuse. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's my main issue with the main mystery of this game. As for the ending, I don't know if you guys want to get to that right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I mean, this game is fundamentally about these people, everybody in the game, even the teenage girls. My theory is that they're all outliers from society, basically. I mean, teenagers, they're kind of rebellious. That's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. They're outliers. They're fucking up, not messing with the rules, not following the rules or whatever. Mm-hmm. Henry, he's detaching himself from society because of his wife's illness. Delilah has been out there for a long time because of her breakup. You find out during the course of the game. Mm-hmm. And Ned, also from, his, not only his son's death, but his army time and his PTSD. So they're all kind of versions of the same, trauma going on, more or less. They're all
just
dealing with.
Get away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think Ned is the most extreme example, of course. But Henry and Delilah are also trying to figure out how to reconnect with society in some way. Mm-hmm. Whereas Ned is completely not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean...
He made the conscious decision where he's not going to be going back. He's just going to live there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's reflective of how they interact with each other. Henry's process is, getting to know Delilah, and that's how he feels like he can reconnect with the world over the course of the story. But Delilah stops being able to feel like an outsider once she learns that Brian's death, came from her negligence as a lookout.
Right.
So she can no longer be that person who lives on the outside anymore. She feels too detached. That's why she can't be, around Henry anymore.
Yeah, and she blames herself 100% because she says, I allowed it. I allowed him to be
exactly.
There, he wasn't supposed to be there. I should have said, no, he can't be here. So she blames herself.
So that's why I don't think that the ending where you at the end you all have to get on a helicopter basically, and she leaves off without you, and you basically get no closure with her, and she doesn't really want to continue this pseudo relationship that you've been building.
Yeah.
No, but
so that's why it feels like it makes sense to me that she wouldn't want to, because she's no longer in that place. And that she's telling Henry that he also has to go back to, his wife. He has to go back to the world that he left.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was...
I could definitely see that, but at the end, you kind of, try to make future plans on meeting up and stuff, and she seems completely okay with that.
Not for me, she wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it changes the dialogue.
Wait, what did she say to you, then?
So, she told me you should go back and see Julia. I was like, okay, but, maybe later on we can meet somewhere in a certain town. I can't remember what town they said. And she's like, yeah, that would be nice. That we can do that. And I was like... Yeah,
for me, that she was a lot more non-committal than that. But.
So maybe actually dialogue had different maybe got different response time because of the dialogue options, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was interested in that because I wanted to ask you guys, because at least for me, in my game, multiple times, kind of Delilah had some romantic advances.
Mm-hmm.
But I always turned her down every time. Because in my head, I was like, if I was in this situation, I would, regardless of, what's going on,
you'd be committed to Julia.
I would still be committed to Julia because she's still alive. I know she has dementia, but you still love her. She's still alive. You still have that commitment to her, regardless. At least for me. So every time she made any romantic advance on me, I was just no, I can't. And at the end of the game, I was like, no, I need to go see Julia. That's my plan. I'm going back to her.
Oh, so you got the same response as Ills did?
Well, I think I think I might have had the options of that you did, but I didn't take them. I didn't even say we should meet somewhere. I was just I'm going back to Julia.
I started doing that. The first couple of times I was like, okay, I barely know you. I don't think this is right. You shouldn't make advancing. But then because she kept insisting, I was like, okay, all right, let's see where this goes. I'm curious. So I kind of flirted with her in some scenario. So maybe that's why I got that option at the end.
Yeah, I mean, she was sort of open to meeting up with me, but she was just like, oh, go meet your wife, and then maybe sometime later down the road, it felt it felt kind of like a brush off. But either way, I mean, the fact that you never meet her, she doesn't even wait for you.
Yeah. I didn't ask her to wait for me.
No, I mean, just go.
Yeah. But even if you ask her, she won't.
Yeah.
And yeah, even then, I mean, you can feel from the moment that she learns about Brian having died in that accident, she's just done. She's done with all of it.
Yeah, she really can't stop blaming herself for it. Even if you tell her no, it's really not your fault at the end of the day. She's like, no, it is.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, maybe I've been out here too long.
Yeah. She's 100% done with that job at that point.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame her. Really, we don't blame her. From a character standpoint, I 100% don't blame her.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just my thought process on the game. I mean, they're all kind of very similar in that respect. They're all varying degrees of the same kind of issues.
Yeah.
Also, side note, how come they never actually did anything about the fucking fire?
I mean, they had the firefighters do the controlled burn.
Yeah,
they were doing a controlled burn.
They did nothing. The whole the place caught fire.
Oh, because the other fire joined with the first fire.
Yeah.
The fire at Wapiti Station joined.
But it feels like it was going on for so fucking long.
I think that's just how wildfires are.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
Didn't sound like they were putting much effort in the very beginning when the fire started out.
Well, it was controlled fire. They were letting it burn on purpose.
Yeah, I don't think they had the resources to shut down those fires. Stop those fires.
Maybe
they just have to try to control where they go.
Yeah, exactly. So, you guys have any other spoilers so I can know where to put the timestamp?
Last thing about Ned, I think I thought this was an interesting thing. You spend the whole time, Henry and Delilah spend the whole time talking to each other, but Ned only sends tapes, and I think that's indicative of his inability to communicate with people without feeling like judged anymore. He can only have a one-sided conversation. Mm-hmm. Whereas Delilah and Henry, there's still like hope for them. Like they can still reconnect with other people. Ned can't do it anymore. So I thought that was a real interesting way of illustrating that. And also I like that Henry's like gets better at climbing as the story progresses. Like in the first 3 days, like he has trouble even climbing the slightest things, but like day 30, 40, he's like vaulting over shit.
Yeah, the day like 77, like at the end, he climbs everything really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning he's like, like really trying to climb these cliffs.
Yeah, there's a lot of like neat little things you might not notice if you...
Okay, well, putting the timestamp right here. And one quick note that I want to just mention. On August 17th, 2020, it was announced that Campo Santo was partnering with Snoot Entertainment to adapt this game into a feature film.
Yeah.
Gonna be interesting. Hopefully it goes somewhere. Hopefully this movie gets made. I'll definitely want to watch it.
Yeah, I read that too. I mean, it's basically a movie right now.
Yeah, but see what happens. I would be interested to see if they would stay, how they would they'd stay to the story of the game and like what extra stuff they'd add in. If the ending would be different. I'd want to know.
They're gonna show Delilah. God damn it.
Yeah,
absolutely. They're gonna show Delilah. They'll probably show Julia.
Well, I mean, showing Julia, I think that's okay, but showing Delilah, I think that's a problem.
They shouldn't just show. It should always be a voice.
Yeah. I agree. But yeah, keep your eye out on that because I definitely want to watch it when it comes out. I wonder if it'll be like, do you think it'll be big, in theaters and everything, or is this too obscure? Like, would it be just like a home release kind of situation, or like straight to Netflix?
I have no idea. How popular is this game? This game is popular, right?
It sold over 1 million copies. Yeah. So
I don't know.
Well, it'd be interesting to find out. There's really no other information.
It's probably not even like a hard movie to make. Like this is probably a very cheap movie to make. So I mean, even if it's just like, it doesn't need. I assume it won't need that much sales to recoup its cost.
Yeah. Well, whenever it comes out, if it comes out, hopefully it comes out. I'll watch it. Maybe we'll do an extra podcast where we watch the movie and talk about the game. First movie review ever. First movie club episode. But with all that being said, do you guys have anything else you want to just quickly mention before we move on?
Developer said this game had a script that's over or about 1,000 pages.
Wow.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Almost kind of warrants. I wouldn't personally myself play it through a second time, but like kind of makes you interested in what other dialogue choices you could have. I guess maybe like this is. I wouldn't play through it a second time, but maybe I would like be okay with watching somebody stream it, to see what somebody else's experience would be, or a Let's Play or something.
Not PewDiePie though.
Absolutely not PewDiePie. If you don't know, they don't want PewDiePie playing this game for various reasons. Because he says bad words. Yeah. It's bad words. So yeah, now it's time to take Firewatch and put it on the list.
The list.
You can follow along with the list in the Pastebin link in the description below, where every episode of the Jump Up Supercast Game Club, we take the game that we played and we add it to this ever-growing list of 236 games right now. About to be 237. So every time it's it goes from best to worst, number 1 all the way down to 236. And we also add a game every episode of the regular podcast that we do, our weekly episodes. So if you want to keep up with the list, you gotta listen to everything. So we just gotta figure out where it goes based on the games that are already there. It's a Patreon pick, so I don't get the out of just saying, hey, whoever picked it is where it goes. Noah, we'll start with you. I'm just picking you for no reason. Really, literally no reason. Because I feel like I usually pick ills for the Patreon one. I never pick myself. It's a lot easier to just pick somebody else.
Go.
Do it.
Fine. You want me to do it? You want me to do it?
For it.
All right. Fuck it. All right. Let's see. Okay. I'm looking. I'm starting to slow down. I'm thinking. Under. Brothers? That's just a starting point.
What?
Starting point.
What number is that?
108.
It's in the club section of these games.
Maybe below Little Nightmares? There's a lot of club games around here. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm feeling lower.
Lower? Where do you want it? Noah, where do you want it? God damn it.
I was looking around Delusion of Gaia.
Alright, I want it below Little Nightmares.
I guess we were really close. Because I was going to say either below Brothers or below Little Nightmares. Because when I was moving up, I immediately, when I saw Snatcher, I said, even though the ending is, doesn't come to the conclusion that's super satisfactory, it is much better than the conclusion of Snatcher.
Big true.
So, I'd put it above Snatcher, as much as how cool that fucking game is. Narrative-wise, it has a much better wrap-up. So yeah, I'm okay with that. Below Little Nightmares. I'm 100% okay with that. Considering I wanted it pretty much in the same spot, so.
That's fine. The same area, so.
Okay. That was easy. That puts Firewatch at number 110 on the list. It's in a game club pack right now. And so surrounding it is number 108 is Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. 109 Little Nightmares. Number 110 is now Firewatch. 111 is The Missing, J.J. Macfield and the Island of Memories. And number 112 is Snatcher. Little Nightmares, The Missing, and Snatcher, all those games are Game Club games. All those games have episodes that you can easily look up on our not on our Patreon, but on our SoundCloud or on YouTube. We have playlists. So if you want to listen to us talk about those games, look them up. All pretty good games, because this is we're up kind of higher on the list. So these are all solid games. It's kind of the middle of the list, but it doesn't get bad until really, really at the bottom. So
yeah, like in the 230s.
Well, yeah,
220s maybe.
210s.
210s. Yeah.
But all solid video games right there. These are all solid games. You want to listen to us talk about them. They're very easy to do. So go check those out if you want. So we're gonna wrap things up. Actually, God, I completely skipped over whether or not we would recommend this game. So I can't believe I skipped over that part. I guess we'll do that real quick, right before we close the podcast. Would you recommend somebody to play Firewatch? And you know what? I'll just start with me again, because that's what I did it right there. I'll do it again. I would. Especially, I don't know if the sales would be going on by the time you listen to it, but $5 on Steam, definitely worth the price of admission. I don't regret paying $20 for it either. I thought, even though it's on the shorter side, again, it does tell a very, very cool, unique narrative, and I don't think I've ever really played anything like it in terms of just this kind of story and setting. So I thought it was pretty cool. There's a little bit of letdown here, but that's for you to maybe have your own opinion on, in terms of the story. So overall, though, I would recommend it. So yes. And Ilse.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, it sucked me in. I really liked the voice acting a whole lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Noah?
Yeah, I'd recommend it. As long as you're okay with the big letdown at the end, then you think that won't faze you, then yeah, definitely go for it.
Well, that's it for this episode. But hey, before you turn off the podcast, I just want to say that if you enjoyed listening to the Jump Up Supercast Game Club, make sure you check us out on your favorite podcast listening service of your choice. We are on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. New episodes of the Game Club go up every other Thursday, as well as the regular Jump Up Supercast, where we talk about video game news and what we've been playing and all sorts of stuff, including the list. Those go up every single Monday. So give us a follow, give us a like, share it with your friends. Feel free to let us know what you thought about Firewatch if you've ever played it, or if you're interested in playing it now. Let us know down in the comments below. And if you want to hear us talk about the movie, let us know if that's a good idea. Support us. If you do want to support us, we do have a Patreon, where for just $1 a month, you get the chance to choose one of our Game Club games. And this game right here was one of those, as I mentioned earlier. So if there's a game you really want us to play, you get a chance to do that. We raffle it off once a round for the Game Club. You also get access. God, I can't talk right now. You also get access to our Discord server, where you can just talk to us about video games and other stuff. We also stream sometimes on twitch.tv/jumpupsupercast. If you want to come hang out and watch us play video games there, you can do that. Give us a follow so you can get a notification when we go live. And if you want to just keep up to date with everything Jump Up Supercast, we also have social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just look us up, Jump Up Supercast. Give us a follow, and we'll post when episodes go live, so you can always know when there's a new episode out. So thank you guys for listening. But before we go, we got one last thing, because this is the Game Club. We got to know what our next game is, and we're back to a new round, and we're back to Noah.
Yay!
Noah, your choice. What are you picking for us to play next time?
Time to revisit good old Noah's childhood again. We are playing Disney's Hercules for PS1.
Okay, all right. So Disney's Hercules on the PlayStation 1. We are going to play that, and we are going to talk about that in 2 weeks from now. Here are our impressions on that game. Come back. Thank you guys for listening. As always, thank you, Ilse and Noah, for playing video games. Thank you. Big shout out to Leahy Giblets for just being an overall awesome guy. Go check him out as well. Go play some video games and be nice to each other.